All right, guys, what's going on? It's Jack, and welcome back to another video. And, today earlier I posted something on Twitter that basically went along the lines of, one of the things that is definitely taken away from the fun factor of Call of Duty, besides things that have already been discussed, is, well, kind of another thing that's been discussed, but we're going to go a little bit more in depth in this one, plus have a little fun, is the fact that they keep taking away things from the player. They keep nerfing things and stuff like that. Back in 2009 in the original Modern Warfare 2, it was pretty much the opposite of that. It was like, give the player more, give the player more. I mean, hell, even Robert Bowling back in the Modern Warfare 3 reveal basically said, that they wanted to give more to the player, more control of the player, but at the same time, they wanted to have a sense of balance. And for back then, for Modern Warfare 3, in terms of back then, especially compared to what we had in Modern Warfare 2, they definitely succeeded. Was it perfect? No, but no Call of Duty is meant to be perfect. Again, I've mentioned it time and time again. That is the formula of a good Call of Duty game, is the fact that no Call of Duty is perfect. It doesn't exist. So with that being said, I'm like, I had a little bit of fun today, and I made a little bit of a perk list. Now, granted, this is something that I was just like a little fun project that I did, and I just wrote it down, had a little bit of fun, used a little bit of imagination, and and I kept every player in mind when I did this. So, and one of the things that makes Call of Duty, and at the same time a little bit frustrating, is the fact that Call of Duty, when it comes to pubs and stuff like that, has annoying elements in it. But that's part of the formula, because it's like, well, you control. You can play and troll. I mean, it's not. Call of Duty was never really meant to be taken seriously, right? So especially when you count outside what the pros play. But anyway, I'm gonna get into this right now and read. So what I did was, I wrote a list of perks that I would include in game. Now, granted, it's just something that I spent some time doing today for fun, and I just wanted to share with you, because again, when you go in the opposite direction, there could be a lot of fun had. And the more I started writing about all these perks and stuff like that, it's like, yeah, I would make a multitude of classes. That's what you want. You want to use a multitude of classes. You want to use a multitude of weapons, which is definitely not happening today in Call of Duty. And back in the day, it was happening all the time. Why? Because back in the day, they were giving things to us. Granted, it wasn't perfect, and yes, they still nerf weapons instead of buffing the other ones. I get why they do that and all that, but it's like Call of Duty used to be all about giving more to the player while trying to keep the balance, and that was the design obstacle that the developers had to overcome every year. Basically, it's like, okay, we need to keep giving more to the player with less limitations, but we still need to keep things balanced. So that way we have crazy, but it's not like so crazy that a good player wouldn't have the crazy, like that basically the good player wouldn't be able to win against the bad player if they're truly skilled over them. So, all right, so let's start, because this is kind of a little bit long. So I started out with Hardline, and I did bring back the pro versions of those perks, because those are it's been requested for years among the community. So Hardline, kills and objectives give you extra score. Hardline Pro, when you unlock that, gun streaks plus OBJ streaks give extra score. So if you go on an OBJ streak, right, and you're playing the OBJ or whatnot nonstop, you are going to get an additional bonus towards your score when you're doing that, as well as your gun kills when you have this perk equipped. Very powerful, especially in the hands of a skilled player. But again, there are so many powerful things with all these perks that I'm about to give, that it would make a very interesting combination of perks that you would create for every single one of your classes in terms of what you were going to do. So Scavenger is next. Nothing too fancy about this one, actually. Pick up ammo from fallen enemies, and then Scavenger Pro is replenish lethals and tacticals and extra mags. Cold-Blooded, undetected by enemy equipment, and gamer tag is hidden, and it counters Marksman. When we get to Marksman, you guys will see. And Cold-Blooded Pro, undetected by ground-based score streaks. Only ground-based score streaks, not aerial, because Blind Eye is going to be taking care of that, which is next. Blind Eye is undetected by aerial-based lethal score streaks. Blind Eye Pro is immune to counter UAV, plus scramble minimap within a close range of an enemy player. Focus, no flinch when shot, no idle sway when ADS. Focus Pro, no strafe speed reduction when shot, no screen shape from explosives, from streaks, and all that other stuff. Lightweight, increase sprint, walk, and crouch speed. Lightweight Pro, no fall damage, swim faster, drop shot faster, jump higher, a little bit higher, not too much, climb obstacles faster, and slide faster. So basically, you're athletic. I was originally going to call this athletic, but lightweight is just too well known. Dead silenced. Silenced footsteps and silenced soldier. So in other words, when you're reloading, sometimes your soldier be like, hey, I'm reloading or something like that. Well, at least they did in the classic Call of Duty game. So it's like, yeah, we're not gonna have that. And then Dead Silence Pro, I think you guys are gonna like this or be surprised by it. Take objectives without being noticed. Okay, so there's no like if you're playing the OBJ and if you got Dead Silence Pro equipped, Dead Silence Pro unlocked, and you got it equipped, basically you can take an OBJ and there will be no notification that says, we're losing B or something like that. The enemy actually has to be at B or watching over B to notice that it's being taken. So, and dog tags and kill confirmed. I made this interesting. So in dog tags and kill confirmed, don't disappear from the point of view of the enemy for like a few seconds after it's been taken. So you can kind of almost bait the enemy team by doing this and having this equipped. Again, not perfect. I haven't found a better solution, but makes it interesting nonetheless, does it not? Does it not encourage take the OBJ when players otherwise wouldn't? Imagine pairing this with Hardline. Insane. Anyway, moving on. Awareness, larger minimap coverage, Awareness Pro, screen highlights when targeted from the side or the back, and then it counters the Pro version of Dead Silence. Okay, I said counters Pro version of Dead Silence. In other words, you're still not going to be able to hear enemy footsteps unless they're like really, really close. But if somebody has Dead Silence and they're taking the OBJ and you want to be sure that you're playing defense a lot better, use Awareness Pro. Recon, damaging and stunning enemies by your lethals and tacticals, exposes them on the minimap in dot form for 4 seconds. Recon Pro, enemies tagged by lethals or tacticals by you or your teammates, exposes them on your minimap as a triangle for 8 seconds. Now, this only happens on your minimap. It doesn't happen for the entire team, or else everybody on the entire team would basically have Recon Pro at this point. Obviously, if their lethals or tacticals tag somebody, it wouldn't do it for that. But at the same time, it would be overkill when everybody has a portion of this ability. So basically, that's how I kept the balance in that one. Originally, I wasn't going to do that, but I was like, wait a minute, that was just too much. So yeah, again, another reason to use Recon, where most of the time a lot of people wouldn't. Flak Jacket, resistance to explosives from lethals and launchers. Flak Jacket Pro, immune to armor-piercing rounds, also known as FMJ, or the penetration abilities from a light machine gun. So if you're taking cover by like playing an objective or something like that, it would make it a lot more difficult to kill you when you're behind cover or whatnot. But no, this is not ballistic vests, so it's not going to have any bearing on that in terms of how fast you die. It's just for penetration properties, basically. Marksman, see enemies easier and from further away when ADS'd. Marksman Pro, see enemies easier and from further away when not ADS'd, and enemy equipment revealed. So basically, I put a little bit of sit rep in there. So Tac Mask, immune to tactical equipment. Tac Mask Pro, take objectives faster / easier. So let's say easier. Let's say you're playing kill confirmed. Once you get close enough to the tag, it would kind of float towards you, kind of like you've seen in other video games or whatnot. Think of them as orbs from like, let's say Devil May Cry or something like that. And obviously taking objectives faster. So again, pairing this with one or two other perks, if you're the only one playing the OBJ, it's going to increase everything. And it's going to, again, it increases your chances of winning the team by yourself when playing the OBJ. when your teammates are not, or when you're against a really good team, for instance, or some good players, and they're mowing down everybody else, but you're still roaming around and you've got the right perk combinations in order to take that OBJ by yourself and just annoying the shit out of the other enemy team, why not? Take OBJ faster. So it's kind of like the equivalent of having teammates taking the OBJ with you without having that being a necessity. All right. And let's see. Let's go. I got a few more and we're almost done. So Ghost, undetected by UAV, only works when sprinting or taking the OBJ. Ghost Pro, Counter Awareness Pro. Okay. Commando, lunge from further away, only when knife only when knife is your primary weapon, for instance, or a tactical knife or whatever the hell it's called, right? And increased sliding distance as well. Another thing that's secondary part of the original form of the perk. And then you've got Commando Pro, which is completely different. Create / customize classes min-match. And then we have the final one I call Demo, short for demolitions. Lethals and tacticals have increased radius, not damage. Okay? In a way, it almost does seem like damage, but not increased damage. Increased radius. So by default, the grenades, your lethals and tacticals, are not going to be crazy, but again, they still do the job if you're on target. But at the same time, if you're not necessarily too good at throwing them, then they're going to have a little bit of an increased radius in terms of their effectiveness. And the same thing goes with the lethals. So they're not going to kill you if you're at the very edge of that radius, but they'll still do damage. And again, this makes other things viable, right? Such as, what was that? Recon, I think? And then Demo Pro is lethal score streaks, kill enemies in buildings, but it would take a minimum of 2 hits. And of course, extra radius on those, let's say, missiles that you fire from a lodestar. Because you remember in previous Call of Duty games, like there'd be like so much indoors and stuff like that your aerial based score streaks, like even in Black Ops 2 to an extent, when somebody got inside the building, the lodestar wouldn't do much, wouldn't be able to do anything or something like that, or those damn indestructible trees. This is kind of a good way to counter that. So it's like it would take an extra rocket to kill the person because they're in the building, but it would still kill them nonetheless. So if you were to get like one of the higher score streaks, like a lodestar, for instance, or something like that, wham bam. So again, it's just to address one of the many complaints. And the thing is, it's also a very interesting way for devs themselves to counter bad map design. Well, not necessarily map design. Like, all streaks should always be viable, regardless of what map you play on. So this is actually, so if it's an all indoor streak thing, and all of a sudden, if you have this equipped, wham bam, there you go. Simple as that. So again, it's not perfect. It is kind of a bit of a mess, but you gotta admit, it is kind of interesting in terms of how some of these perks work. And I even took it a step further, and I'd be like, I don't even know if I would do a tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. I would just say, okay, pick 3. That's it. You get 3 perks. They're pro versions, and this is what they do. And they all do plenty. And could make for some very, very interesting combinations, especially if you're a specific type of player. So let's say you want to run around and you want to just get your knife kills, right? You're doing knife challenges and you want to get your knife kills or whatnot. Well, using Commando Pro and some of the other perks that make you go, like for instance, Commando Pro, Lightweight Pro, and then let's say Dead Silence Pro or whatnot, where you take the OBJ faster or whatever I had it as, or any one of these other perks or whatnot. That makes it a lot more fun. Or let's say you're going for, let's say you're one of those people that loves doing challenges, right? Well, all of a sudden, if you use Recon and then you pair that together with, like, let's say Demo, I mean, and another perk or whatnot, all of a sudden that becomes viable. Let's say all you care about is the win. Or like, let's say nobody on your team can get a kill and you're going to have to get the win for yourself. So it's like, okay, Hardline Pro. And I left out 2 assists equals 1 kill. I mean, it's clever, but I left that out because I didn't think it would be necessary. And I wanted the pro version of the perk to be good, and I wanted to kind of I just wanted something new. I wanted to kind of create something new. Again, a little messy in certain aspects, but at the same time, still good and still fun. And but I wanted to kind of put this like as a basic example, you know, just out of my head that I worked on for a little bit, that I took the time to write, just to show that like, hey, not perfect, but it sounds fun, you know. And this is the direction we need to head in, because like when you hear about the design decisions of a game and it makes you want to play it just because it's like, ooh, the possibilities, I can do this class, I can do this class, I can do that class. I mean, it just makes it that much more exciting and it makes it that much more viable. But anyway, that's all I got for this one, guys. I ran out of time. Let me know what you think. Any changes or additions or omissions in this aspect, let me know. And what do you think? Do you agree? Do you think Call of Duty needs to go back towards the original Modern Warfare 2 direction to where players have more and then there's more things that are viable throughout the game? Let me know. And I hope you enjoyed it. Catch you guys on the next one.